Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
That's fucking forward, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Have you got
hello.
a minute to talk about Jesus Christ, the
Hello.
Latter-day Saint? Hello.
Hello.
Ding dong. Hello.
How are you? Have you
Like a light switch, turn it off.
Do that one again now that you've got the guest building shot.
Yeah, baby.
Alrighty.
Alrighty then. Hello and welcome to another take.
My name's Marcus. This is Luke,
Hello.
and we're here to take you through the creative journey, the thought processes of professional engineers and producers,
Oh, nice.
discussing how we creatively capture the hits of tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm probably talking a lot of nonsense on the way.
In each episode, we're going to have a special guest who will grace the Chesterfield, get it, to discuss their favourite topic, a technique they particularly enjoy using, or just something in the recording industry that's kind of close to their heart.
Yeah, hopefully they know what they're talking about, unlike me and you.
Hold tight for demos, comparisons, shootouts, and most importantly, a world where there are no wrong or right answers.
None at all.
Just an appreciation for what sounds best in the moment.
Yeah,
Sound good?
sounds perfect.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
No more MD until completed.
I'd like some MD.
All right. Stay high is the copy.
That's fitting.
Stay high. Ethiopia.
that segmented far too well. Far too well. No, we should say so. Every week we're gonna have
Oh yeah.
a fresh coffee from a local shop.
Well, your local shop.
Local shop, not a roastery. Local shop
If we run out of local shops, we might get something.
online.
If we hear of something particularly nice.
Yeah.
Could go
Oh, I
online.
did have a good one the other week actually. We
Yeah.
should
the
get
one-
that in.
yeah. I know the one you were talking about.
But I think when I first started working here with you, Marcus, I think I wasn't very into coffee,
No.
and you changed my life. I think a
For the
lot.
better.
You made me spend a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of people get into it in our industry and kind of.
Does feel
From-
like there's like a pretty strong link between engineer. I don't know if it's engineering producing, but
No, I think musicians
artists
as well.
as well.
Yeah, well, I've
And
had
a
it.
good appreciation of the beans.
Yeah, I've done records and we've had little coffee clubs and people bring it in like
Yeah.
when we're doing long term stuff. So I think it's a little thing. So this one is
Well, Stay High Coffee Roasters from Ethiopia.
Oh.
Afternoon Chill, it
okay.
says. Flavor notes, plums,
Okay.
maple syrup.
Okay.
You getting these?
I did put sugar in it.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Lemon balm.
I don't know what that tastes like.
Floral, tea-like, and clean.
Clean.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Right. So I guess that depends like
Should have
how
a
you
look.
make it as
Go
well.
on then.
But
Well, we just a cafetiere for this one.
I mean, I'm getting some of that.
I'm getting coffee.
Floral. It's really floral.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think.
Maybe it's the sugar you'll get. Do you find a lot of coffee tastes like sugar? Is that what?
Yeah, they're all
They're
sweet.
very sweet.
Ah, no, it's nice though. It's clean. Like I get the cleanness.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hmm.
nice.
Well,
That's
that'll be
good.
great. That'll really set us up.
Excellent. So, should we introduce ourselves a little bit?
Yeah. Do you want to go first? You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So,
What are you, Luke?
I am Luke. I am engineer producer. I've worked for Locock for 6 years this year. Pretty crazy. Came through kind of
That's a while.
their assisting rags. Was moving around doing all sorts. Then was in house at Livingston Studios. Kind of met clients through all that, and kind of within the last few years has ventured out into engineering and production. Before that, I was in-house at a studio in Lincolnshire while at university at Huddersfield. So I was in-house at Chapel Studios, a legendary studio up north. And then, worked my way to the big smoke. And for all my sins, sat on a podcast with you.
Yeah. You spent a lot of time in this location.
very
Where are we
building.
today?
We are in Livingston Studios.
Livingston Studio
In
1.
Wood Green, Livingston Studio 1, home.
Home
Very much feels, I think, for both of us.
for both of us.
This is
For
where
a
we
long
met.
time.
We met here as well.
Yeah.
And
I'll go through my journey in a moment. Skipping the bit with Luke.
yeah, this is where you made me spend loads of money on coffee.
Yeah.
This is where you changed me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we met here. Oh God, what was that?
2020? What? 2020?
Four-
2019.
4 years ago,
Yeah, at
4
least
years ago.
4 or 5 years,
yeah,
yeah.
What about you?
What about me?
What about you?
I'm Marcus. I have been working with Moloko for like 8 years, I think. I looked it up recently.
Wow.
About 8 years. I'm the chief engineer for Moloko at the moment.
Might change after this
Yeah,
podcast.
exactly. I moved to London in like 2012. I've gone to university, graduated, moved to Canada, just did nothing to do with music.
Yeah.
Came back, thought I'd move to London and see what was going on. Came down. A friend of mine was working in a studio, the Lightship studio, but he'd previously worked as a mix assistant for a guy with his own mix room, which was Artillery, Donald Clark. So he kind of put in a word with me with Donald. Donald took me on as an intern to start with, and then I stuck around as his assistant for a few years. But he used to mix in the kind of full SSL style,
Full
automation,
outboard, like
floppy
everything.
disks.
Yeah.
We were updating the paper recalls every day, all that stuff.
Old school.
Old school, and not seen very often now, but a
No.
really good foundation for me, because then when Artillery wasn't around anymore, I was put in touch with Moloko, and they needed somebody who knew those skills.
Yeah, so you went into
So
the Red Room
I went to the Red Room.
down in Bermondsey.
Exactly. I spent a few years assisting the Red Room when it was more mixy still, before people had started using it as much for recording vocals and other bits. And after a couple of years of that, I came up to Livingston because I wanted to dig into tracking in like larger spaces.
Yeah.
I could plug in one microphone, and I figured I could probably plug in more microphones, but
You
I
were
wanted to get
quickly found
experience
to be wrong.
doing just experience with groups of people recording together, just making sure I could do that.
Yeah.
I spent how many years here? Like 3 or 4 years here as well.
Yeah. So I came halfway through your
Yeah.
tenure and we spent a few years together here.
Yeah. What great years.
They were great years. Golden years.
Golden
I would
years.
say.
Yeah.
I would say.
Then after that, I started engineering freelance. So we was doing a lot of stuff still with Moloko. And then I added on the chief engineering gig after that, and that's kind of where we are now. So I engineer and mix and bit of production.
Yeah.
And that's me. What a
Excellent.
pair.
What a pair.
Hopefully with that we can at least carry a conversation with
Yeah, there'll be
our
no
guests.
yeah.
To start us off, today, I've brought something for us to listen to.
Oh no.
2 things actually. You've not heard them. But I thought we could do in this first episode talking about kind of I was trying to think of something that's like a little bit as a certain kind of creativeness to it, where we can talk about how you can use it in a creative way. In this case, like what is a polar pattern?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, what difference does it actually make?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not moving the mic, if it's just in one stationary place, how different does it sound just flicking between polar patterns?
Yep.
So we've got a little recording we've done of this. I don't think it's in shock. There's a Steinway B.
Quote.
The
best piano in London. Unquote.
It's been said.
It has been
It's
said.
been said.
It has been said. So through this demo, so what you've done is you've recorded a piano with just a pair of mics and you've changed the polar pattern. So do you want to just maybe explain to us what is a polar pattern and what these polar patterns are?
So basically, polar pattern changes how the mic responds to the sounds around it. You can flick through the different polar patterns and it will change whether you're hearing sound on the microphone directly in front of it, whether you can pick up from what's behind it, all around it. And over the years, these kind of different polar patterns have, to start with, it was more down to the way that they were manufactured.
Yeah.
So a certain type of microphone would have a certain polar pattern.
Yeah.
Ribbon microphones were generally figure of 8, so they pick up in front and behind because of the way they were manufactured.
Yeah.
Other microphones would be kind of just in front or all around. And over the years, we've developed microphones where you can flick between the different polar patterns for different applications.
Yeah.
So kind of common ones that you will find nowadays, cardioid, which is kind of probably the most standard polar pattern, as you know.
Yeah.
Picking up mostly in front of the microphone, quite a broad kind of scope of sound, really. Different microphones, it'll vary. So you'll find some will be kind of in front of it and off to the sides. Others, it'll be a much more narrow field of vision. If you think of it as like vision, it's a kind of a good way, in my mind, to to picture it.
Yeah.
Like, what is the microphone seeing?
Yes. I think, yeah, that's a good way to think about it
Yeah.
and visualize it.
Exactly. I mean, Omni, it's hard to visualize that, but that's everything all the way around. The mic,
That's an
basically,
owl.
it's like an owl. Exactly. Yeah. An owl that's got a lot of eyes and
Yeah.
can see all the way around. Hypercardioid, variation on cardioid. So often, again, a narrower vision at the front,
Yeah.
but with a bit of pickup from the back also. And then figure 8, as we mentioned, that's the front and back pretty equally.
Mhm.
So kind of a front lobe, back lobe.
Yeah.
But more actively, it will reject what comes in from the sides.
Yeah.
And you can use that. That can be super useful sometimes. Those are the ones we're kind of really going to talk about today. There are probably other variations on polar patterns as well.
Uh-huh. Well, now it's
But once you know
microphones that you can draw them in and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah.
Whereas
I think these are the classics. These are the ones that you'll see on most like things like TLMs and U87s and stuff like that. So I think these are the main 4, really.
I think so. And that's why we've chosen to use them for this demonstration.
Yeah.
And we're using the TLMs that have a kind of great selection of polar patterns on there.
Yeah.
Even like some modern mics now, you can record, take all that information in and change the polar pattern
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah. Or there's some with the apps that you can draw your polar pattern in. Seeing there.
I haven't actually seen that. That's
I
crazy.
think it's the Austrian audio ones.
Interesting. Where it's recording, I guess, both capsules, all the information at once.
Yeah.
And then you can just adjust that relationship between the two later
Yeah.
on. Very cool. Shall I pull it up? Let's pull it up.
Yeah.
Grab your cans.
Grab the cans from down here.
All right, let's find out what it sounds like.
It's be embarrassing if it don't work first time.
I know. Oh, coffee.
Oh, have another sip. See if you can taste that lemon balm.
I really am getting the floral. Are you guys drinking the same coffee in there? Floral?
Floral?
Coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
He
Heathens.
is a heathen with it though.
Yeah.
If you can stand a spoon up in it, that's how JB likes it.
Yeah. Now, how would you rather play this? Imagine it's the game. If you don't look at the screen, would you rather I go through showing you what they all are and we just have a listen that way? Or do you want to try and guess what it might be?
No, let's just listen.
All right.
'Cause that's what it'll be like on the video.
So we're going through in the same way that we will do on the switch. So what we're using today on the piano,
Mhm.
pair of mics I use all the time, the TLM 170s,
Great microphone.
great microphones. We got 3 of them. I'm only using 2. Just spaced on the piano,
Mhm.
kind of over the strings,
Yep.
but not like flat, sort of leveled up a little bit.
Mhm.
And we're just flicking through all the polar patterns because it's got all these options. We've kind of skipped the semi-cardioid one. I can't remember exactly what it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've got omni, cardioid, hypercardioid, and figure 8,
The classics.
the classics. And so in this case, it just kind of, we're going to have a listen and just see if we can hear a clear difference as we go through these examples.
Excellent.
How's that?
Nice. It's rich.
Quite open?
Yeah, open, rich, quite a bit of pedal noise. in
Yeah,
that.
that's kind of piano, I think.
Yeah, I think with some patterns,
Yeah.
it avoids it more than others. But
Let's
yeah.
find out.
Well, let's find out. That's what we're here for.
All right, okay, so this next one, cardioid.
So, which was this?
Cardioid.
Yeah, I thought.
Cardioid. More
Yes.
direct.
Yeah, that felt like my head was in the piano.
I mean, and which is effectively what
It is.
it would be if
Very directional. There's kind of a little bit more detailed with
Yeah.
because you go in straight direct string sound rather than kind of omni
Yeah,
where you're
none
getting a
of the
little bit of
room.
everything room
Yeah,
and
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of maybe reflecting off the lid and that stuff. It's very direct.
Yeah.
I could have been in a piano.
agreed. I could have been a
I don't
piano.
recommend. I don't recommend doing that
Yeah,
either.
here I am. Okay, now I'm kind of interested to hear this hypercardioid one.
Yeah.
And maybe we should at some point jump back and forth a little bit between this and I'll line them all up maybe on the same time. And just try
You're in
and,
control.
yeah. But so I want to keep in my mind what the other one sounds like when I hear this one.
Interesting.
Yeah, not inspiringly different to my ear.
No, but I felt like there were certain notes that were really clear,
Hmm.
and then others that weren't. So it
Was
wasn't as
you're thinking,
clear
was
as
it
overall.
higher ones or lower ones that you felt more muddied?
It was just more. I think I could feel as you were coming across where it was more directional. I could
Yeah.
feel that. So I almost felt
yeah.
sometimes I felt a little bit more that I could feel as
I
if
get
you
you.
were moving side to side on the piano
Yeah,
as the notes go
maybe
up
it
and
makes
down.
something to do with the phase if it's
Yeah, well, if you're going out of the
certain
null
points be
spot.
more in phase and out of phase.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
But I'd have to go back and listen to
Figure
the.
8.
Yeah.
Now, this should be interesting because you get that null.
Yeah, so
Which-
maybe
which
in
will-
my head it makes me think it should maybe be wider because you're getting a little bit less bleed between the mics.
Potentially. Let's find out.
He says. Phew. Save my career. Yeah, that to me felt a lot wider.
Very much wider.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it must be that kind of null spot, that kind of it gets a little bit of that off axis
Interesting because like
bleed away,
while we were recording that, it was mentioned maybe it's worth flipping
the phase of one.
the face. I'll do that right now. So flipping.
Oh,
no, that sounds more out of phase.
yeah. I feel like I'm falling over.
Yeah, and then right. So that seems to be the phase is better that way.
Yeah, for sure.
And it might be that small movements on the of the mic, you might find that just comes into more of a focus.
Yeah,
More precise.
sure.
Like maybe more precise positioning would be needed.
Yeah, but can you go between the cardioid and the hypercardioid
Yeah, let me make
again for me?
a couple more channels so we can listen to them at the same time. Hyper. Cardioid a little softer.
A little richer, a little warmer,
Yeah.
softer,
Wonder where it's coming from. Maybe it's because it's a slightly narrower.
maybe.
I mean, this is where we get down to like subjectiveness.
Yeah, for sure.
Played different time, but just in that on impression. Let's play a little bit later on, see if we feel the same thing. I won't tell you which one it is to start with.
Yeah, that like the low mid seemed to.
Yeah, you get more of it on the cardioid.
Yeah.
I prefer cardioid.
Well, yeah, it feels a lot more consistent to me
Yeah.
across frequency and across notes.
No wonder people use it so much.
Well, yeah.
I've got to say, hypercardioid, not a pattern I frequently reach for.
No, I agree.
Situational, like that would be one where there might be a situation where I'd be like, oh, this might be perfect for that.
Well, I think this
But
is
more often
something I
than
was
not.
yeah. So this is what I was going to basically say. I think it's really great doing this and hearing the difference of them. And if you're doing a classical piano album, it'll be great because
Yeah.
you can choose these things. And I would probably lean towards Omni. Me and you being here at the studio, we've done a lot of jazz, a lot of big band where you've got people in multiple rooms with a little bit of spill because there's doors to shut.
Yeah.
But it's there. So then if you were going to throw on an Omni, you're going to get something that you're going to pick up another instrument. Or even if there's a double bass in this room, you're going to start picking it up. So it's great to kind of know these things and know what they sound like and the differences and all that stuff. But also I think you can only play the cards that you're dealt and it depends on completely the session and everything else.
Following on like that with the Omni, because I've done a few jazz things now with the Omni, with
Yeah.
like larger setups, and in a way, I don't think the spill is exaggerated, Omni, because a lot of it comes from the soundboard,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
particularly like the double basses.
Mhm.
Seems like that just kind of resonates from the whole piano when they're in the room.
Yeah.
Like it just bounces around. But even when there's other things like next door, as long as the positioning of the piano is okay,
Yeah, yeah.
the Omni actually, because it's a more natural spill,
Yeah.
because you're not getting sort of some rejection and some stuff that is making its round, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not bouncing its way from around inside the piano,
Yeah.
come back to you. It's less offensive. It's less kind of phasey spill, and
Yeah, okay, so yeah.
it's the same way that it's sometimes when people are doing ensemble recording in the same room, you would put everyone on Omni mics.
Yeah, well, I was
'Cause-
gonna just say that because you did that recently. You've done it with strings quite a bit, and then
yeah,
did you try it with horns as well?
I think I did do,
And
yeah.
that one didn't come out as well as
I think 'cause
you
then I
thought.
missed some of the proximity
Alright, cool, yeah,
in on that session, but I think that's it where when you got everyone recording together, there's going to be bleed 100%,
yeah.
unstoppable. So when you start using polar patterns that have kind of rejection on them,
Mhm.
you're ending up there. Sometimes you're going to emphasize that bleed by
You almost
only getting
gotta
the reflections. Things will
you've
sound
gotta lean you've
further.
gotta lean into it a little
Exactly.
bit.
Yeah, yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah. And that's Al Schmidt, I think, did a lot of that. A lot
Yeah.
of his recording, he would have things in Omni the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I've never done it that much. I think the way that the thing that I was thinking of was kind of you've got the piano here and drums in that room.
Yes.
And that's for me, that's a little bit of like, I wouldn't necessarily want that kind of spill.
It'd be interesting to try. I think it'd be less than you think.
Yeah, yeah. Again, but then also as well, sometimes when you're on sessions, it's hard to try things because you
Exactly.
have got musicians
100%.
waiting for their 15-minute break.
Exactly. Try one new thing a session.
Yeah, try one new thing a session and don't be afraid to do it.
Yeah. Try it
I
out.
think you almost look a little bit more assured by going, oh, I'm going to just try this,
Yeah.
than you are just like doing
that's
it,
where, like,
having your plan and sticking to it.
in terms of working through a career, you get all that from years assisting. When you
Yeah,
get to
yeah.
watch, I was going to say hundreds, but it probably is hundreds.
Probably, it's been
over the
hundreds
years
over the years.
of different engineers doing it completely differently,
Yeah.
or the same, or you just see it. I've seen that piano mic'd up probably every way I can think of that it can
Yeah.
be mic'd up.
Yes.
Like, and nothing was I can't think of a single one where you're like, that is wrong. That is
Yeah.
unusable. Everything's valid.
And
Everything
it's
works.
so circumstantial as well. I've seen engineers use 57s on that, which
Yeah.
in theory feels like sacrilege. But really what it was is like, it was so we were doing the track and then we were tracking it to kind of add into the track. Oh, we could probably take these off now.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. Well, listen to something else in a sec. But
It was so it was to add it into a track. It wasn't kind of tracking a full band. It was layering up.
Yeah.
And it just fit. So it was basically, if you recorded that with the TLMs, you're probably going to EQ it to what the 57 is, so it slots in the mix. It just was
Exactly.
like, boom, done, perfect.
Yeah. You're making that decision early on,
At the time,
at the right time.
You know, and then you've got you're in these big studios. You can throw up a few mics. Just try them. You don't have to take them all. You don't.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to. You can just delete the tracks. Or
I
hide
think there's
them
a
or
lot to be
whatever.
said for that, where you're listening to the space you've got left,
Yeah,
and then making your recording choices accordingly.
yeah,
Because otherwise, you leave everything open all the time, and
Yeah.
no decision's been made, and then
for sure.
somebody's got to then try and piece it together and make something cohesive out of it afterwards, without knowing where you had
Yeah.
intended things to be.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that comes with experience and time.
Yeah.
I've seen lots of engineers.
One more thing I want
Good
to do on this is I would just flick between the Omni and the
All
right,
all right.
then we'll move on to our second
Our second
example.
demo.
Yeah.
Oh, Marcus,
Oh, I
Oh.
spoiled you today. Okay,
teaching me.
so a bit of Omni. Figure eight.
Low end loss is crazy. But also, I think in the figure of eight, you've lost a bit of the pedal noise as well at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not so.
It's amazing. Omni, I guess in my head, I thought, well, I've done this before, so I know going into this, but this was kind of why I thought it was a good example, because prior to starting to record pianos a lot more with Omni,
Yeah.
in my head, I thought I would lose proximity effect going away from cardioid, and therefore I would lose kind of body,
Yeah.
like artificial or otherwise. But really, it's every time I've done it, it's been one of the fuller sounds that
For sure.
I've got out of piano. Okay, so for our next demonstration, the way earlier we were talking about figure-8 microphones
Yeah.
and how with old ribbons and kind of condensers nowadays as well, you can put them onto figure-8. You get that kind of front and back
Yeah.
pickup, but rejecting from the sides.
Yeah.
I think there's interesting ways you can use that rejection.
For sure.
And you've seen me do this before with, I'll often do it in the drums here at Livingston.
Yeah.
I'll put up my room mics, often the AEA R84s, and then turn them sideways so that we're rejecting directly what's coming from the
Yeah.
drum kit to emphasize the sound of the room.
Yeah. So it's a bit like a wet dry
Yeah.
knob on a reverb.
Yeah,
In a
it's
way.
super
That's the way I see that it works.
So even when you've got a room that's kind of, it's a live sounding room, but you want a bigger sound. You want it to sound like you get less of that direct sound
Yeah.
and more of just kind of what's bouncing around there.
Yeah.
And obviously we've done this before, but I've never done it as a direct comparison to the straight on.
Yeah.
So what we've effectively done, I've got the R84 pointing straight at the kit from about 5 meters away. Pretty high, maybe it was about 7 foot, 6.5, 7 foot up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second AEA on top, like a plumb line, but where it's one is pointing directly at the kit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me pull it up and we'll have a listen. Let me grab my headphones. I'm not going to make you guess which one's which because it should be pretty obvious as we go through it.
Let's not. Let's not say that to me, please.
Okay, so play the first few bars. It's all pretty similar the way through. Getting that?
Yeah.
Okay. So and then here is the off axis.
Yep. Yeah.
Hear that? I'll switch around.
Yeah. You get those transients kind of there.
Yeah.
You kind of get the a little bit more like high end and clickiness out of that kick.
Listen to the kick drum this time round. I'll start with the off axis and I'll switch halfway through to the on axis.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're getting a little bit more tone out of it. I mean, they both sound great.
Roomier.
So different. Yeah, so much roomier.
So that's exactly what I use it for.
Yeah.
A lot of the time is just to emphasize the sound of this, particularly this drum room here at Livingston, where you can only get so far away from the kit, particularly if you're thinking about things like lines of sight with the players as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So we got a piano, you got a double bass, you got maybe some brass, you got your drum kit.
Yeah.
You can't afford to have the drum kit necessarily stuffed into the back corner of the room.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're sacrificing all your lines of sight, and then when these guys are playing together, line of sight and the communication between everybody is so important, more important than getting a decent distance on your room mic.
I think that's definitely a thing to think about as well.
Yeah.
These kind of other things than just purely the sound, the raw sound, because you're going to get different results with how comfortable musicians are and can see each other. So yeah, I think a lot of this is like what you're talking about, like with the piano, and we're going through this. These are all kind of ideals and stuff like that. I think you've really got to look at the session and who's in it and what you're doing to really think about these things.
Famously, like the right microphone, the best microphone for the job is the microphone that's ready to go and to capture that performance.
Yeah.
Right? That's a great rule to live your life by.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if it's going to break the flow of the session, it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
If you've got something just ready to go, move it over, throw it up.
Just do it.
Record it.
Yeah,
Mono. Record it stereo. Record it like...
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a compressor on it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You've made a decision.
I think a lot of it was great that we're doing this and kind of going through this It's still stuff that I don't really think I've had much time to do in sessions as well. Is that now it's in the back of your mind of like, okay, well, I heard that demonstration. I know what this polar pattern sounds like. So you can kind of flick to it quickly and make a decision.
Now
That's the
this is good 'cause
information.
what I really think is important, and the reason I think it's really good for people to get experience with all of these kind of different polar patterns, how you can use them, is really this sense memory.
Yeah.
So I think as kind of engineers, what you draw on a lot isn't your scientific knowledge of, if I turn it to this angle, if I use this polar pattern, I'll be able to reject exactly what's over there. And the same with like mic characteristics. You by learning, by using, by doing, you develop a memory for how you think they'll sound.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets you there faster. It
Yeah.
gives you something to draw on when you're making your decisions, like choosing your mics, choosing the setups and positions.
Yeah.
You've got an idea of how it sounded last time, and that's kind of your head start.
Yeah.
Whereas otherwise, you're starting from scratch every time, trying to figure it all
Yeah.
out.
I think it's okay to change things and if it's not doing the thing that you wanting it to do. But yeah, it's just building up that base information of like, well, if I do this, it should or
Yeah,
it
that's a
might
great
do this,
starting point.
and you start from there, and you're already so your starting block just gets a little bit higher every time.
Yeah,
You're just drawing on this stuff, and I think just by understanding it and being able to hear in isolation, it's very hard to be sat there when you've got a five-piece jazz band and you're flicking through.
Hang on, I'm going
all-
to turn this mic around.
Yeah. It's like, well, first of all, someone's going to get annoyed because they need to crack on, and second of all, you've got all these other elements and loads of other microphones
yeah.
that you're like, oh, you're not really going to hear the difference. You're going to have to spend a little bit more time hearing the difference.
It's
So
good
it's
to get
just knowing it.
confirmation.
Yeah.
Listen
In
to things
isolation,
In isolation, and be like, oh, it does make
a huge difference.
a huge difference. Now, this is more for interest than.
Yeah, I'm
kind of-
intrigued to
we've
see
heard the
that
difference,
if
so-
you slam it, then how much
So
that
this is a bit of-
that brings out the differences, or it doesn't.
Bit of Devillock. See if you hear more of a
Devil.
difference
Classic.
or less of a difference.
Yeah.
This might be a little louder. I think I pulled it down a bit, but let's find out.
Oh yeah, that's really emphasised it.
Break again.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, but it's exaggerated. So you get the low weightiness of the off-axis kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's really brought out that kind of. I feel sluggishness is the wrong word, but it feels a lot slower. It feels.
Slow is a good word for it. Should we listen again?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it feels.
Makes that more roomy, really, doesn't it? It's like
Yeah, really does. And I think, again, touching a little bit back on like what we were saying about just getting this knowledge under your belts before sessions, I think this is a great one because you go, okay, cool. So I don't know, let's say you're doing a band. We want this sound.
yeah,
Cool. So like I'm going to base my setup to start off with on this sound. So I want a beefier, muddier drum sound. Cool. I'll do the off-axis stuff.
Yeah.
And that'll give me that. Whereas like, so you're starting with a starting block that's a little bit higher than it was
100%.
before.
Would you guess that was 5 meters away? Do you think?
No,
'Cause to me, I think if I heard that in isolation,
yeah.
I think it was closer. Still sounds roomy, but I think I wouldn't think. I think it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
lower and closer.
Yeah.
Rather than, it's basically at the extreme of the room. If Kit was at the back. It was
Yeah.
5 meters away.
No, I would feel that feels a bit. Yeah, it feels closer. I think.
Bonus, the joy of doing it in that kind of Blumline configuration.
That you could do Bloodline.
I can, well, not Blumline, but like an MSD code on it.
Oh right, yeah.
So this is with a little bit of the sides fed
Yeah.
into the mono signal.
Oh, cool.
So you get a bit of stereo to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll flip to the other ones. Mono. Half projection.
That feels so close too.
Yeah.
And you can hear that blend of the two. You're still getting the transients coming directly from the kick, but you've still got a little bit of weight and width from the obviously from the off-axis ones.
Good now, I might start doing that on all my sessions.
Yeah.
Putting high up on axis plumb line.
Yeah.
That's good vibes.
Yeah, it's really good. I think as well with null spots, so you can get sonic difference like that. I think as well, the way I've used them a lot in the past is if we've got a bigger session and maybe horns, like if you've got a couple next to each other, it helps maybe reject a little bit, especially if it's like a bit more solo-y parts. Done that before, I think.
I guess that's natural as well. If you're using ribbons on horns, you're going to get a bit of that.
Gives a little bit more. And I think the other one I've used it is kind of if someone's playing guitar like acoustic and singing at the same time. Figure of eight, like move it on its side, so you're kind of rejecting the voice as much as possible.
Well, that's the classic. You can use the two figure of eight microphones, can't you? So one's kind of pointing at the vocalist but rejecting the guitar, and then the guitar's rejecting.
Yeah, so it's not. Vocals. So these things are they've got sonic differences.
Yeah,
you can use them like that, kind of the off-axis stuff, but also practical elements to them.
100%.
And again, and just by focusing on this away from the madness of a session, I think it really helps you then in the session make a decision.
Yeah, exactly. Adding all these little things to the toolkit.
Yeah.
It's all something that in the middle of a session, you're like, this is impossible.
Yeah.
This level of, I can't have this person here. It's going to like ruin this.
Yeah.
It just gives you another way of being like, hang on.
Yeah, I found a lot, especially in the jazz stuff and the big band stuff that we have done over time, and musical stuff as well. When people have to play live together, audio almost or the sonics slightly become secondary.
Totally.
You have to have the musicians comfortable seeing each other. If they want to be there, they want to be there. If they want to sit there, they can sit there, and then it's kind of up to you to then move in and kind of capture that as good as possible.
Yeah.
Because if they're comfortable, you're going to get a better performance, and I think you're going to then get a better sounding thing overall. At the end of the day, these things are a sum of all their little parts. It's not just like, oh, that double bass is just not perfect. It needs to be by itself. It doesn't matter if they can't see the piano player. So I know if they want to see the piano player, you need to be able to deal with that.
Yeah. And that's where things like hypercardia would come in.
Yeah.
I've definitely used that before in those situations where you've got a lot of players in the same room. And you need that focus. You need something that will not be picking up quite so much of the stuff around it.
Yeah.
I can't think of any exact examples right now. There was a violin, I think, when we did the Bonnie and Clyde.
Okay, yeah.
Violin in a room with loads of other people.
Yeah.
And it just, I'd put a different mic on it to start with. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was like a KM84, something like that. It was a small diaphragm thing. Yeah. Don't you remember? That's so weird.
That was a long time
And
ago.
then, but it was just picking up a lot of everyone else in the room. Switched to something like I'm looking at it because we've got one up there, the KMH40.
Yeah.
And just, it was like a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Different sound, completely isolated.
Yeah.
Not completely, but very much more isolated.
For sure. And I think as well, knowing the polar patterns and the null spots, you can just start to maybe angle microphones a little bit more in a certain way, just to know that you're going to reject as much as possible if that's what you want.
Drums, another example of drums, toms.
Yeah.
You can use figure eight on your toms.
Yeah.
To reject some of those cymbals, particularly if it's a drummer who's got the cymbals down low.
Yeah.
Where you're in trouble there, where you're getting a lot of cymbal into your tom mics.
Yeah, or like knowing where. So like I always found floor toms can be a bit of a funny one, because your natural thing is to kind of go off at like 3 o'clock to the tom. If you're looking forwards, kind of go off 3 o'clock, and you're like, oh, but I'm getting so much hat and snare.
Yeah,
so
you're basically pointing at it across the
so
kit.
it's like, oh, actually, I know if I just nudge it this way or come from a different angle, I'm going to reject a little bit more. Or like hi-hats, if you've got like a cardioid or hypercardioid on that, you just bend it a little bit more, facing away from something. Just these little things of like, you just know it like you've known it, you figured it out in isolation, not in the madness of a session.
Yeah.
And it just helps you little things. These are not like angling the hat mic or moving the floor tom mic isn't.
There isn't like a
there's
20
no
degrees.
there's no hard and fast rule. What I'm saying is that you kind of understand what they're doing, so you can then make a little bit more of a decision what you're doing.
I think, and that is basically getting better when you're, that's how you get better at engineering.
Yeah.
Making these decisions just by messing around, trying them all, forming an opinion on them.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what it is. It just comes down to your opinion on how it sounds
Yeah.
on things. And your opinion is why some people might think somebody is better or worse
Yeah.
at it. Because we all reach a level where you're getting it done.
Yeah.
It gets recorded,
Yeah.
sound goes in, and then what differentiates from there is putting your opinion on what sounds good and what is a better way of doing it
Yeah.
into that mix.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that's so true. And in all aspects of a session, not just mics and stuff like that. But I think there's things that I think are great that I've used once or twice and I've got real good results that you hate. And
yeah, go on.
That 58.
I like that 58.
Oh, fair enough. But I think there's can't be telling people that. But I think there's lots of things there's things that people like because they've got a result out of it. And they seem to consistently get results out of it, and that's what they're looking for. And you might use it in your session, and you're like, nah, I don't like that.
Well, that's stuff like the 58 is an interesting one because that almost touches on polar patterns. Where if you're thinking of what I'm thinking, where
my drummer talk back,
best your drummer talk back.
No. Well, what?
Yeah, I'm joking. But like the best mic on the drum kit is the talkback.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, unintentionally, you put up a talkback mic, whether it's that 58.
Yeah.
Or whether it's a 421.
Yeah.
And it's pointing right towards the drummer's face, really.
Yeah.
But by happenstance, that means that the back of it, often the cardioid, is going to be directly towards the kit. So you're kind of as rejecting as you can be of the direct kit sound, but very close to the kit, often like right by the drummer's face, as you're saying. And then you're putting a bit of compression on that channel so that when the drummer inevitably starts playing,
or like talking when in between takes, that's what you do. You're like,
it's just gonna either blow your ears or you're gonna compress it so that it catches it, and it just sounds awesome.
I don't know why, but I know people that don't think the same. But for me, I always take that mic because if I don't, I know it's gonna sound fantastic. And I'll be gutted that I don't. And at Livingston, they've got a really old 58 that frequency response must be awful. It's real, like the logo of the Shaw is different. But for me, when you use it as that talkback mic, it does the business really well, which a friend of mine back in Leeds, Lee Smith, showed me years ago because they had a similar one. And he always used it as a kick-in mic.
Oh, really? Have you tried that one?
No, I'd like to actually. I've never done it. But he always used to use it on kick-in. Because it's like the frequency response is so poor.
Yeah.
It's like you just get a real good like click out of it. You get that attack of it, of the kick. So just little things like that. You find things that work, and people have berated me for using that microphone and told me it's the worst thing ever. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I agree. Definitely adds some vibe. Did you see the breakdancing at the Olympics?
Yeah, I saw a bit of it. It's fucking hilarious. Oh, I haven't watched a lot of the Olympics actually, but I saw a bit of that.
Crack me up. But I watched the Australian.
Yeah, but I watched the cycling. It just doesn't make sense.
The cycling doesn't make sense.
No, the velodrome stuff.
In what way? Like too fast?
No, it's just like I don't understand what they're doing. It's like sometimes they're slowing down and sometimes they're not, and then there's two people and then one drags them along.
I don't know.
And it's like in every 10 laps there's a sprint. I'm like, what? But then some people weren't sprinting. I was like, oh God, I just watched it.
Don't worry about it, mate.
Hurt my head.
Do you watch any climbing?
Did watch climbing actually. Funnily enough, so when we were in Barcelona, we were in a bar.
Oh yeah. What a shocker.
What a shocker. Irish bar as well. But it's the only one with a pool table. And met this couple, one from America, one from Australia, and they're pro climbers.
But was it like they're support climbers? I'm joking. Pro climbers? Get it?
No, like
never mind.
No,
don't worry.
Straight on my head. But they were both sponsored by North Face, and one was Red Bull.
Great.
The girl was Red Bull, but they're like free climbers.
Oh,
so like
no ropes sort of thing.
Yeah, but like also like trying to do.
Oh, that's free solo.
Yeah, trying to do, because I think my mate asked them about the free solo, and he was like, "Yeah, it's great, like love him." And they do similar stuff, and they're like doing the things that people have never done before.
Amazing.
Because they was like saying in their side of the community, like of climbing, they think the Olympic stuff's not really climbing.
Wow,
that's what they said.
Wow, I guess it like crosses. Yeah, I guess it's a different thing to be out there climbing mountains.
They're going up and doing things that no one has ever done. That's their thing. That's what they do, and they go up to the cliffs. So like the guy who did like Yosemite or whatever. Do you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I guess it takes all sorts. It's such a broad thing. You couldn't really compete Olympically, could you? In climbing mountains.
I suppose it's
That's why
like,
you bring it into like an indoor
yeah,
form
yeah.
or like a controlled format
Yeah, for sure.
where everyone's climbing the exact same route, the exact same way.
Then
Well,
but
not
more
same
like
way, but
free climbing, I suppose.
yeah. I guess that's
They're not following a course; they're just trying to get up a.
yeah, exactly. So you could find your own way. You can break the beater
Yeah, yeah,
and find a different route up the cliff,
yeah.
or
yeah.
take a zig when someone else is
They were
out.
crazy, but I found them on Instagram afterwards. Like,
Really?
she's
They're just, like,
she,
mega
she was
strong?
insane. Yeah, she was insane. She was like Red Bull North Face kind
Wow.
of stuff.
Random question of the episode.
Random question of the episode.
Favorite button on an SSL is a random question I've got here.
Favorite button on the SSL?
Big old console. A lot of them the same button.
Yeah,
over
a
and
lot
over.
of them say button. That's a great question.
Tricky.
Is it a good question or not? I can't think
I mean,
about
you're having to think about it.
it. Mute.
Mute. Cut. It's tricky. Depends on the SSL, I guess.
Yeah, they're all different.
The one in the red room, the Spectra with the plasma meters.
Oh, that's fun.
Spectra.
Yeah,
that's a fun button.
That's fun. Is that one?
It's a lot of fun. Go on, pick one. Any old button. If I took a button,
It's been so long that since I've worked here. I'm trying to think of
you
the
look at it,
buttons.
you're imagining the
I'm
send
going
section.
through the I'm going through it all like up and down trying to think of it. What about the talkback turn up? You know when you do the crush thing, the Hugh Padgham
the
thing?
listen mics.
Yeah, the listen mic.
Okay, so we're like button or knob, because that's a little.
Well, yeah, because there's lots.
Favorite. Button or knob.
Yeah,
And you
I
can
like
have
the
the
knob.
listen
Yeah,
mic.
the listen mic turning up.
Yeah, listen mic 1 or 2 though. Different characters.
In-
Joking. They're
in-
exactly the same.
In one, out into the other.
Yeah,
back in.
yeah, double.
Yeah, I think that. What about you? You're Mr. SSL, so you spent a lot of time on SSLs.
You found a good one there. I do like that listen mic.
Yeah, I think that's probably a favourite, just for the craziness.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You know what I don't like?
Go on.
Oh, what's the one next to him after Q? Is it Omni?
Omni. Yeah.
That's blown some ears in the past.
That certainly is not always a favourite. MD's a good one though. I do
MD's
love
a fun
having the
one.
little mic
Well,
coming
yeah,
out
but
into the speakers in the studio.
But that's
That's
here.
good. Yeah, but I think any good studio would have the same feature.
He's
Putting it out
throwing
there.
the shade. He's throwing the shade.
Damn.
You like
Okay.
MD?
I like MD.
And I'm going listen.
You're going
Listen, Mike.
Yeah. There's also the listen button.
Yeah.
Attack, decay, sustain, or release.
Which is your favourite?
It's like a synthy question, isn't it?
All waveforms have them.
Yeah, I guess, but as choosable.
I'm not a synth
Functions.
huge guy. But I suppose you think of it like a drum. You're looking for all those things.
All essential.
Attack.
Cool. I mean, I was looking
Some
at sustain
aggressive.
or release
Attack.
because I don't mean that as sustain or release as one thing. I mean,
One of them too.
release.
Are you thinking that's
I would choose release. I think that's the one that you get. It's overlooked, but you get a lot of control out of changing the release time. Don't you? Because it's
Well, I think in a lot of things.
yeah, exactly. Well, compressors, exactly.
Compressors.
That's a whole episode in itself.
Drums, the release of like the tail.
Yeah, how dampened it is.
Yeah.
That's very release. Often we're thinking about release. So on a piano, it's very much like you got a pedal on and off.
Yeah.
How long is yours? Well, it's more sustain, I guess.
That's sustain.
I mean, it's literally a sustain pedal.
It is what it's called, yeah.
I'm going to retract that statement.
No, I think I'd go with attack there.
What is the best tea to have in the studio? I'm going to look right there and say the worst tea to have in the studio.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. You love it.
Biscuit tea.
Biscuit tea.
Get out of my studio.
Alex, have you had a biscuit tea?
No, never.
Yorkshire tea.
Yorkshire tea. Well, first of all,
biscuit
let's just go
version.
about this. And I've actually probably got a bit of a bone to pick with Kevin because it's all gone tits up since I've left. Yorkshire tea. Always.
Yeah, Yorkshire tea always. That's
Always.
fine. Yeah.
And then we go into the flavours
of Yorkshire.
of Yorkshire tea.
Why?
Because they did it and it was great.
But
Biscuit tea.
this is where we differ because
Biscuit tea was so good.
I have a cup of biscuit tea. Tastes like someone else has dunked a biscuit in my tea,
It's like stale biscuit.
and I don't get the biscuit. So I
Wait.
get no biscuit, And the tea already tastes like someone else's
You know,
Farnell biscuit.
I think what it's good at is that we live sedentary lives. You know, we sit on our backsides all day pressing buttons. We don't do a lot. Well, you stand up a lot.
I stand up a lot.
Can't be eating too many biscuits.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get the taste of a biscuit without eating the biscuit.
I don't need that kind of torment.
Also, they also released a jam on toast tea, did Yorkshire tea. So they did, yeah,
I think I saw
biscuit
that,
tea.
yeah.
The biscuit teas that just taste like you've dipped a biscuit in, and then the jam on toast
like
tea.
you dipped your jam on toast.
Yeah. No, it tastes like you're having jam on toast for your breakfast.
Yeah.
And then you've had a mouthful of jam on toast and you've swallowed it and you go, oh, I'm going to wash that down with a swig
I
of tea.
would just much rather have the jam on toast, man.
Well,
That's it.
I've never seen you with jam on toast in the studio. I don't think I've ever seen you with jam on toast, to be honest with you.
I'm going to make it my mission to remedy that situation. I'd go marmalade. I'd choose marmalade over jam if I was... marmalade is jam, I guess, but...
Well, it's kind of got its own name.
Yeah. There's no marmalade on toast tea, though. Paddington would
Yorkshire
like
tea. First of all, please sponsor us.
that. Yeah.
Second
Well,
of
yeah,
all,
do, please.
second of all, marmalade on toast tea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or just
that could be
marmalade
fantastic.
tea. I've had marmalade vodkas. That's very good. So marmalade tea is surely good.
But I want the on toast bit. That was
Alright.
that was the impressive bit about the jam on toast. You could actually taste
The
toast.
Was it burnt toast?
No, it was perfectly
Toasted.
browned,
toast.
toasted.
All right. I mean, so that's the best tea. It's just Yorkshire, right? So if you had to pick one, though, it's just Yorkshire.
Yeah, Yorkshire. I think Yorkshire Gold's for home. It's a treat. I think Yorkshire is just,
It's the one.
it's the one. Everybody loves it.
I
I've
agree.
converted many of people to tea drinkers.
Yeah. They really
With
know how to
Yorkshire
grow
tea.
it up there in Yorkshire.
Yeah, in those massive warehouses under Bradford.
All right. Thanks, Luke. It's been great chatting to you.
Been great chatting to you.
Thanks for listening to my examples. I hope you found those interesting.
Yeah, your demos were really helpful, actually.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's interesting to hear it all kind of stripped back just to those things rather
Yeah.
than because often you're hearing it as part of a whole
Yeah.
and you're not getting to just hear the
Putting it in
minutiae.
isolation. I
Yeah.
think these are just our opinions. These are the things that we've learned of many years of assisting engineering, being
Yeah.
around studios, being through uni, all that. These are just our opinions. Hopefully they've been helpful, and if they've not, sorry for wasting an hour of your life.
And this is constantly changing. Our opinions might change
Yeah.
on this. My opinion is going to change weekly.
Yeah.
As I try different things, I form a different opinion.
You get different
kind of-
challenges and
different experiences.
sessions.
Yeah, I'll do something. I'll be like, whoa, that's cool. That's my new thing.
Yeah.
That's how I do
I
it
think
now.
that's what keeps it interesting. Everyone's
Yeah.
got a thing and it just keeps it
And
interesting.
that's
If you're
where-
doing the same thing over and over again for the next 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
it get pretty boring.
Well, listen to the sound of records, how it's
Yeah.
evolved over the years and changed and gone through fashions and
For
cycles.
sure.
That's going to keep happening. We'll
Yeah.
go back and revisit old ones. We'll find new things.
Yeah, 100%.
Can't wait.
But yeah, so thank you for listening. Next episode, we'll have a guest who knows what they're talking about a bit
Can't
more.
wait. Yeah. Also,
So yeah, thank you for watching or listening, and
Thank
we'll
you.
see you next episode.
see you next time. Bye.